for a couple of months. So I'd be surprised if he did come up to the NHL and struggle. But, the Rangers got to start thinking about this, and I'm going to be honest, I probably change my position on this every day because it's just it just racks my mind. You don't want to see Lundqvist go. He's done so much for this organization. He has been the organization. He is the rock for the Rangers and for Ranger fans. And, I threw something out there last night on Twitter about, the smart move is probably getting rid of Lundqvist or looking to trade. I don't want to say get rid of. That sounds terrible, but
that is terrible. I can't believe you said that.
I know, right? Sorry. We just lost like 20 listeners because I just said that.
2,500.
That's right. So, losing Georgiev or trading Georgiev for a second round pick just doesn't seem like a good way to use your assets, or, you want to get a lot for them. And if you can get a team, like I said, like Toronto, because they may be interested in a Lundqvist as well, or San Jose, or the Avalanche, who may be looking for a veteran goaltender this year to get them over the hump, maybe, they'd be willing to take on some of Lundqvist's salary. I mean, the Rangers would probably have to eat some of it themselves. That just seems like the smarter move to me, because by the time this team is ready to contend, Lundqvist won't be on this team. So why would you get rid of Georgiev, who could potentially be the goalie who wins you that cup? I mean, he's been that good lately that you're now thinking, wow, is this guy going to be the heir apparent to Lundqvist? Maybe it isn't Shesterkin. So, Georgiev has really made this a tough conversation for JD and for Gordon and for Ranger fans. I mean, the debates I've seen on Twitter this week have been real passionate.
Yeah, hey, look, it's all good. As one of our themes here. It's all good, another good problem to have. But I think, JD and Gordon here, you got to let this breathe a little more. I know we're hitting 30 games here. I don't know what the exact number is in terms of the split. Obviously, we got the waiver issue that you brought up last week and detailed so eloquently for us, and especially for me. But, you have to see here what happens. I mean, we still got to watch. They could lose. The potential's there for them to lose 5 or 6 here in a bunch, and we might have to see different variables here as far as Georgiev and Hank and what's going forward here. I think the other thing that we talked about last week is getting Shesty up here. I'm going to call him Shesty from now on. Getting Shesty up here and maybe getting him a couple of games too, just to see what happens. And again, we also talked about hopefully there'll be no injuries. But I guess they got to let this breathe here a little bit. There's no doubt about it, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to tell you right now, buddy, Georgiev going up Toronto. Anderson, has his weaknesses up there for the Leafs, but I'm telling you right now, the big problems are everybody else on that squad up in Toronto. It's a bunch of pretty boys up there with all that talent and all that money, and they can't get it going. And even their new coach is having the same problems that Babcock have. So I don't think a goaltender is necessarily going to bring the Toronto Maple Leafs a cup. I think there's a lot of other things that they have to figure out up there, and they got big problems up there, and they're trailing us right now, and they got a boatload of money on that ice. And I would think that would be terrible to send a guy like Georgiev up there and have to deal with that. The kid deserves a lot of money. You know how I feel about Georgiev here. I think he's very much like Richter. Love his style, his maturity, and everything else. And I think he should be the heir apparent right now. And right now, KD, all we have to go on for that is he's just proving it out on the ice. Like I said, we're moving away from that Tampa Bay blowout. Hopefully something like that doesn't happen. And then again, you got to look at what's happening in front of him. So we've both duly noted, and everybody else who's, doing podcasts and columns and tweeting about this stuff, it's the team in front. The Rangers right now still don't have a solid defensive system in place. They've got a lot of talent there, but again, the shots on goal consistently go up. And just touching on that real quick, KD, before we kind of wrap this little quick cast up here in a few minutes, is your take on Stahl coming back last night. I want to ask you about that. A couple other negatives I want to point out was we got beat up pretty bad in the face-off circle. It still seems to be a pretty strong weakness of ours as well. They don't seem to be able to get a good handle on that and strengthen that asset out. And again, 5 more penalties, and I know Lemieux took another fighting penalty, but just those 3 things real quick as far as last night. Any comment you have on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, Stahl's going to struggle. I mean, he's older now. He's obviously gone through all the injuries in his career, the concussions, the eye injury, and he's going to struggle out there. He's struggled for the last couple of years, and he struggled last night. And, I don't know that he's any better or worse than Hayek has been. So, the defense will continue to struggle, not because of Stahl. I think just because of the way that they're playing, the systems that they're playing. They just don't seem to be working right now, whatever it is, whether it's that they're not playing aggressive enough or not enough pressure on the puck or, however you want to describe it. They got to figure it out system-wise, not, personnel-wise. The personnel is the personnel. I think that Quinn and Ruff and whoever is putting the defense together needs to look at their personnel and say, what type of defensive scheme do we need to put in place here that works for the talents of our defensemen? And then go from there. So that's, to me, from my unexpertise opinion on all this, that's what they should do. A coach should make their defensive plan or any plan that they have for the team based on the talents of the players that they have. It doesn't seem like they're doing that right now. And until they do, they're going to continue to struggle.
And your thoughts on their face-off issues and Lemieux's fight there?
I have a little. I get that Lemieux, took out one of their guys, and look, you got to pay the piper when you do that. I just feel like, unfortunately, the Rangers this year have been fighting when they're winning, like when they're up a couple of goals, and I never think that that's a good idea. You're only asking to give momentum to the other team. They're down, they're out. I mean, last night it was later in the game. I was very doubtful that Vegas was going to come back, but why even bother? Like, why do anything to spark the other team by getting into these fights? You saw Smith did it one night. Lemieux's done it a couple of times now. So you have to pick your spots, I think, especially now because fighting really is going sort of by the wayside in this league. You really have to pick your spots, or if it's part of a, sort of what's happening in the play, your passions are running high. So, but I think they got to be a little bit smarter. And I love Lemieux. I love everything that he brings to the table. The kid's got, a talent level, skill-wise, hockey-wise, and then he's got the toughness, the grinding ability. So I love him. But I think he's got to do a better job of picking his spots, when it comes to fighting.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. There's, unless something obviously happens in a game where he's protecting somebody, different kind of a story. But, I totally agree with you in terms of there's a right time for everything. I mean, it's few and far between anyway with fighting these days, but I think, you gotta pick your best moments to do that. So we'll see what happens. All right, buddy. So look, 33 points, 6 in the Metro. Tuesday night at the Kings, then San Jose, and then into Anaheim on Saturday. And then they come back for a game against Nashville at the Garden on Monday, and then following Friday, Toronto. That's the next 5. You were talking about how you think they're going to go. I'm kind of with you. To start off with 2 points is great. And I'd love to see them get all 8. I think they can. And I think last night was a great boost of confidence for them. But we'll see what happens. We got some wounded teams that they're running into. Teams with kind of nothing to lose there. So it's not going to be easy. A great test for them. And also we talked about them bonding on this trip as well, too. And hopefully that's going to help them coming back to the East Coast. Buddy, before we go, I got to get your take on Brendan Smith's breakaway goal the other night against the Canadiens, man. What is he drinking?
I don't know. It's pretty awesome, though. I put something on Twitter. I said, raise your hand if you thought Brendan Smith had moves like that. And I don't think anybody rose their hand because I did not expect that. Yeah, maybe he's been hanging out with Panarin. Panarin's rubbing off on everybody. So, get everybody's, with a locker room stall next to that guy. But it's awesome to see, and a goal like that, too, because, the team loves Smith as much as, he gets crap from fans. The team loves a guy like that. And I mentioned a couple of podcasts ago about how he's taken Kakko under his wing. And I bet you the team appreciates that, sort of that veteran presence who he'll do anything. One of those guys who do anything for the team, anything for a win. So you knew the team, that must have gotten them so sky high to see him bury that goal. That was pretty sweet. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. These are the kids, man. What are you going to say, buddy?
No, I was going to say, by the way, did you see what's going on with my guy Kratsov over in Russia?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, he got demoted from the KHL to the KHL's AHL. I think it's called like the VHL or something. Goodness gracious.
Well,
what a mess.
Yeah, buddy, and I tell you what, man, I think all of us right now should step back and kind of get that JD and Gorton know what they're doing, because they obviously saw something, and it's been, to see him drop and then drop, there's something going on there. So I think we need to give it a little tip of the hat there for JD and Gorton, and maybe not be so susceptible to questioning these guys going forward.
Oh yeah, I mean, there were a lot of Ranger fans that were all over management and Quinn for dropping him into the AHL, and he should have been on the opening night roster. And now this guy can't even stick with a KHL team, so it's a little concerning. We discussed it obviously at the time when it all went down, when he decided to go back to Russia. That we thought, at least I thought it was a bad idea, to get away from the organization where you could learn, what the Rangers organization wants from him. He can learn the North American game, and really try to succeed here. Instead, he decided going back to the KHL was best for him. Look, he knows himself better than we do. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but now it seems to sort of blown up in his face. I think that the Rangers would be smart to get a call to his agent and try to get him back over here ASAP. I don't know if he's pretty down on himself, which I'm sure he is, and maybe a call from the Rangers saying, hey, why don't you come back over here? We'll get you on the AHL team. We'll try to build you back up and get you back and get you on the NHL roster, hopefully by the spring. I think that's the way the Rangers should go. I'm not giving up on him yet. He's still, 19 years old. Plenty of time to get this kid's head straight and his game straight. So, it's a mess. Don't get me wrong. Right now, it doesn't look good. But there is time to still develop this kid.
Yeah, and you know what, Katie? If that all doesn't work out, I'm sure there's a spot down at the team store. We can put him in there, put him behind the counter, and help push some merchandise and bring in some more funds for the team, baby.
That's right. Yeah, right. You feel bad, though. You do feel bad for the kid. I don't know if he has some, confidence issues and that kind of thing. So, I really hate to come down on him, and I'm sure he's in a bad place right now mentally. So, like I said, that's really why I would like the team to reach out to him and sort of, put out an olive branch, extend an olive branch to him, and, hopefully get him back over here and get him right.
Get him a case of whatever Smth is drinking, baby. That's all he needs.
That's right.
All right, folks, a little quick cast. We're going to say goodbye. Say goodbye to the folks there, Katie.
Goodbye, folks.
All right, we'll see you guys Wednesday night for their full episode, the Mark Messier episode, number 11, Wednesday night after the King games. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. Let's go, Rangers!